Kia ora. Welcome back to Sloane Ranger Studio. Today we're back with Gotrek on the table and we're going to be doing his pants today, I thought. So I really like the old Warhammer fantasy style of those blue and white stripy pants, so that's what we're going to be going for, and in classic Sloane Ranger Studio fashion, we'll be making them a little bit dirty. You know, he's been roaming around doing his adventures and whatnot, and I don't think Gotrek particularly cares about the cleanliness of his pants, but it's going to be fun, so let's get into it. Alright, so here we are with our Gotrek from the last episode with his lovely dwarven skin down there. Nice and exaggerated, you know, really deep shadows, really bright highlights. But what we're going to be working on today are the pant areas here. So it's just a little slither between the boot and the belt. Oh my god, his legs are so jacked. Body goals, Fitspo. Anyway, first colour we're going to be using for this is going to be Rakarth Flesh. So that's kind of a dull off-white, which is going to be exactly what we want to start this off. So first thing we're going to do is just base coat this whole pant area in a bit of Rakarth Flesh. So no worries about touching the skin here. We've got the belt and the boots. So let's go around and put a nice generous coat of this Rakarth Flesh over top. Okay, so we got ourselves a nice even coat of Rakarth Flesh on there. So the next thing is going to be adding in our first lot of blue stripes. So the colour we're going to be using, this colour here, Night Lord's Blue, which is a kind of dark desaturated blue. It's kind of perfect for this element of the body here, which isn't like what you want to notice first, but a nice little detail when you're looking in close. So we've got this colour here, we'll just thin it down a little bit. When it comes to doing stripes, I've done a few slayers now, and I've noticed that the best thing you can do when it comes to doing stripes is do a couple first that kind of establish your cadence of stripes. So pick somewhere in the middle and just do a thin stripe, and just following the curves, just like that. So you've got one stripe like that. And then pick another one, so maybe like the back of the leg here, so it's gonna go like that, and then kind of smush around his butt, like so. And then do the same on the other leg, so back of the leg there, smush around his butt. It's gonna be tricky to get into the one on the side there, so I might just leave that for now. Then on the front, so going over the kneecap. Cool. And so now we've got our kind of cadence of stripes. And we'll make these a bit thicker, but now we know where they're going to be. So now we can just do one in the middle of each one. And if you kind of go a little bit too thick or whatever, it doesn't really matter because we've got just a coat of Rakarth underneath. So we've got you know, an easy undercolor to touch up with, like whenever you're doing anything freehand. So then just following that curve down, just like that. One going around the middle of the butt, going down the inside of the leg. So yeah, it's going to be somewhere around there. Cool. So once we've done that, then it's just a matter of kind of thickening them up. You know, we want like an even space between our blue and our Rakarth, so that's why it's handy to have just a single coat underneath that we can easily touch up with. You know, if we'd gone and shaded this white color underneath, it'd be very hard to touch up because we'd have to kind of analyze which each color was going to be. So now I'm just thickening each color up. So we've got this color nice and thin, so it's going to take a couple of coats of this blue to get it to the depth that we want it. That's fine. More chances to, you know, kind of correct our lines and make sure everything's nice and even. Okay, so go around and thicken up those lines, making sure that the blue is nice and consistent. And you know, if there's any spots where you think that you might have slipped up, just go back with a little bit of rack earth and you can straighten anything up. Nice and easy. Okay, so we've got those stripes on there now. Looking pretty cool. The biggest challenge, of course, is getting them to look uniform while still kind of working with the curves of whatever happens to be underneath it. And so that's something you'll find whenever you're painting patterns that kind of flow around curves and whatnot, is it's really challenging to keep them uniform, if you're freehanding on a cape or something like that. But do your best and try and keep the lines as uniform as possible. Next thing we're going to do though is use a wash. So I haven't used many washes on Sun Ranger Studio, but I'm just going to be using Agrak's Earthshade straight out of the pot for this. Old Faithful. So Agrak's Earthshade, and I've just got some on my palette here. What you're going to do is just put this all over the pants, and so this is just going to help catch all of those folds in the fabric and dull our white down a little bit to make it look a little bit dirty like we were talking about. So I'm just, straight out of the pot, nice generous coat of this. I'm not letting it pull up too much. I don't want it to create any big deep recessed shadows or anything like that. I just want to kind of tint it and hopefully get a little bit of these wrinkle details. So go around and add this, and I'll come back when it's dry. Okay, so that wash is dried, and you can see it's really tinted. It kind of has tainted. The rack earth flesh coat, and it's given us some shadows to work with. So now we can start doing the fun part, which is touching up and brightening up these stripes. So go back to the base colors and the Night Lord's blue and the rack earth flesh, and just on the raised areas, big areas like his butt cheeks and his quads, and just kind of bring that blue back up. So do the same for the rack earth. You'll notice this one has much more noticeable effect. So yeah, listen careful. Leaving those shadows and the recesses that we created with the wash. You'll notice on some places like this kneecap, there's like quite a defined change. You can keep your layers thin here as well. Thin it down a little bit. Want our transitions to be smooth. Yeah, it's starting to look pretty cool. So go around and touch up these colors and bring them back up a little bit with a nice thin layer. Okay, so we've tidied up those base colors there and brought it back up to the rack earth and the Night Lord's blue on the raised areas. So the next step is going to be taking those stripes a little bit further. So I've mixed in a little bit of white to my rack earth flesh, and I've thinned it down with a bit of water so it's nice, thin and smooth. So doing the same thing as we were doing the previous step, only this time, just sort of looking at a little bit of a small surface area. Just gonna bringing it up, pushing the paint up into these top areas here. So, catching these folds as well. So yeah, that's how we're doing it for the white. And for the blue, I've got this color here, a Latok, which is a nice step up from the Night Lord's blue. It's still kind of an ultramarine blue. It's quite blue, so it goes quite well over this Night Lord's. It's not too green or anything like that. So we've got the same process with the white, and we're just looking for these folds. I'm just looking to push up this blue a little bit. We're pushing our blue up into these raised areas. So yeah, you can see it's quite thin, and the folds go across both stripe colors, so picking those out either side, it's gonna look quite cool. So yeah, work your way around and push these brighter colors up into the raised areas of these stripes, and we'll come back for the next and final step of these stripes. Alright, so we've gone around and highlighted up those bits of white and blue. So we're up to our last step now, which is just a bit of pure white and a color called Hueth Blue, which is just a brighter blue of the, a nice step up from the last one. So we've got our colors nice and thin here, so we don't want too much on our brush, so taking off the excess on my thumb. And same thing as last time, just this time right towards the top now, pushing our paint right up in to those highest highlights. Yeah, still catching these folds. Start to see how that blue really pops up there. So this might take a couple of coats just to get it to a nice even and nice bright blue. And then when it comes to the white, yeah, it's just thin down, pure white. Same thing, just pushing it up. This is going to be quite a jump, but it's kind of what we want. It's not, it's, you know, whenever you're using pure white, there's always a risk of it starting to look like it's silk or something like that. But I think because we've got enough of the browns in here, it's not gonna appear silky. It's just going to appear like it's under some good lighting. So go around and add that Hoeth and pure white, and we'll come back for the finished result. And there we go. There are Gotrek's blue stripy pants. So I think that looks pretty cool. You know, there's a nice, exaggerated light going on in there, which matches the tone in the skin. And so you can imagine, you know, once we've got all of our light, well, once we've got all of our colors in there, we'll be able to see that light source coming through really strongly. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Not too complicated. The hardest thing is just getting those stripes to look uniform. Once you've got that, then the shading and the highlighting is pretty normal. It's kind of how we treat everything else, but I think it looks pretty cool. Next up, we're going to be doing the leather boots, so it should be a nice and quick one. It's going to be some dirty, worn leather. Might be bringing in a little bit of a warm tone because at the moment everything's feeling a little bit cool. Not to worry though, I'm sure once we add in his bright orange beard, that'll all be fixed. Anyway, I hope you like it. Thanks for watching. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. Share it around. I'm sure everybody wants to add stripy pants to all of their miniatures. Maybe if you've got a friend who plays ogres, this is like the perfect thing for them. Thanks again. See you later.